to be patient there because there's a big message across my screen that I have to get rid of. Hopefully I don't lose anybody. There we go. Please note I did that all by myself. Okay, moved by Randy, seconded by Dave. All those in favor? Okay. Before we start into the meeting, I do have a small presentation that I'd like to share with you with regards to the events that have happened in Kamloops. So I'd like to pay tribute to the First Nations people across Canada for the horrible, horrible news that they've received. So I've got something prepared, which I will read. So Ani, tonight I'd like to pay homage to the Kamloops Tecumseh First Nation as they continue to grieve the murder of their 215 children. No words can begin to describe the horrific nature of this crime. These children, along with thousands of other Indigenous children, were taken from their homes simply because they were Indigenous. We've all heard the horrendous stories of the injustices that they have had to endure at our hands. However, nothing makes it more real than the uncovering of 215 bodies of innocent children, some as young as 3 years old, who suffered at the hands of those who supposedly speak of tolerance, acceptance, and love. It sickens me to know that my ancestors had a part in this gruesome and heartbreaking tragedy. Though these murders, children, were never documented, I implore the federal government to take every step humanly possible and without consideration of costs to identify each child and bring them home. Though it is impossible to turn the clock back, it is my hope that the identification of every child will bring much, much overdue peace, solace, and closure for these families. That is the very least we as a nation can do. The municipality will be sending a letter of condolences and support to Chief Roseanne Casimir. Our flags have been flying at half staff this week as we continue to mourn these senseless deaths. Finally, on behalf of the municipality, I wish to extend our deepest condolences to the Kamloops Tecumseh First Nation. We cannot even begin to imagine your sorrow, and our heart aches for you. And I would like everyone to take a moment to recognize this tragedy of unimaginable proportion. Thank you, Miigwech. Merci. Now we'll go back to the regular meeting. And are there any disclosures of pecuniary interests? Going through all the pictures, seeing none. Though we no longer have the committee of the whole, as I said at our last meeting, I think that it's a good thing for the deputy mayor to continue to chair the first meeting of the month. I think it gives me a little break, and also I can express my opinions. So it's a win-win situation. So with that, I'm sending you the virtual gavel with our name. And
thank you, Mayor Peugeot. So, good evening. So 5 reports and items for consideration. 5.1.1, a COVID update. I believe Mark Gagnon will speak to this.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just a brief update. As we all know, the stay-at-home order has ended as of today. Just a few little things. A lot of the orders still remain in place for council's information and for the general public in terms of the emergency break. The one thing is we're no longer, it's no longer illegal to leave your home for services that are non-essential. The gatherings outdoors up to 5 people are permitted. And then all the other orders in terms of non-essential service and indoor gatherings will remain in place for the next 2 weeks. As you're all aware, the Premier made announcements today in terms of schools being kept closed in the province of Ontario until September. And he also hinted of potentially moving into step one of the reopening phase earlier than the projected June 14th date. So that's the brief update. Everything else operationally within the municipality has not changed. We continue moving forward the way we have, and it's been working extremely well with the cooperation of the public, council, and staff as a whole. So thank you to everybody for their patience in working with the municipal business. In terms of vaccinations, we're progressively working through things. The next vaccination date is in St. Charles tomorrow. They're upping the dosages just to almost 500. Then the clinic of June 10th in Albin will be up to 522, and then ramping up to 540 on the 17th. As you're all aware, the province made an announcement about the people aged 80 or plus could register within the public health submarine districts. Currently, they have not opened that window for booking at this point in time. They're hoping to have that open to that age group starting June 28th, as per their media release that was sent out on Saturday. And they continue concentrating on youth 12 to 17 and age groups 18 and under, and concentrating on first dose vaccinations to be implemented. Currently throughout the region, we're sitting at about 60% of the population vaccinated that are able to. So that's the update I have, Madam Chair, at this point in time, and we'll be providing additional information to council at the next council meeting. Merci.
Thank you, Mark. 5.1.2, a resolution to approve the attendees at the AMO virtual conference being held August 15 to 18, 2021. Do we have?
I can speak to this.
Okay, Mel?
Sure. So during budget time, council had sent their wish list for the conferences for this year. But as we were uncertain as to which conferences were actually going to be held virtually or in person, we did not bring any resolution to council at the time to approve the attendance. But we did book we did register the members that wanted to go to AMO. So we had Mayor Pajot, we had Councillor Richard Mallette, Randy Hazlett, David Viau, and René Carrier that we registered for AMO. So this resolution is just to approve those attendances and to reaffirm that everyone still wants to attend. So the AMO conference is in August.
Is everybody, Dave, still, you want to speak to that, or?
Yeah, please. If it's not too late, I would rather not attend. My internet is not very good to do these online conferences, so I think it would be just a waste of money for me to try and attend it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
So that.
Richard?
So my question was, so this is going to be a virtual conference?
That's correct.
Do we know that for a fact?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if we're having, so there's possibilities that we're still going to have delegations, right? And if we have delegations, they will be done as such?
Virtually, yes.
Okay. So if we have delegations, we don't necessarily need to be registered to the conference, right? In order to be part of one of the delegations if we have to. So being, before you answer the question, so I would rather not attend the virtual conference for 2 or 3 days, to be honest with you. I'd rather participate for sure in any delegations that we may have, but not necessarily a virtual conference for 3 days.
Okay. And Councillor Randy?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Being a past member of the board, you actually have to attend the full conference to take part in the delegation. You can't just zoom into the delegations. You have to pay the full fee and attend the full meeting.
Well, I mean, that might be in a normal year, but we've got a virtual conference. We've never had that before. So
And last year's conference was virtual.
Okay, so anybody else have any comments? So do we have a resolution or
Yes, we do.
yes? So I need a mover and a seconder. Counselor Randy and Counselor Bob.
So it is duly moved and seconded. We resolve that council approves the attendance of the following members at the AMO virtual conference, August 15th to the 18th, which is hosted by the City of London at a cost of $675 each member. So we have Mayor Gisèle Pajot, Councillor Randy Hazlett, and Eleni Kadi.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, thank you. 5.2 finances, nil. 5.3 public works and environmental services. 5.3.1. We have a resolution to award the contract for the single and double surface treatment of Léger, Presqu'île, Brousseau, Dry Pine Bay, White Pine Lane, and Pine Ridge Roads. And the report, tender reports for the shingle and the double treatment of roads. Bob will speak to this.
Well, this is part of our 5-year road plan. These roads were all rehabilitated in 2020 with the intent of resurfacing them in 2021. So we did a tender. Miller Paving came in at $317,158, which was the lowest. So we're recommending that Miller Paving be awarded the contract. The amount that was budgeted for this was $363,543. So this is below our budget estimates. You have any questions?
Thank you, Bob. Any questions for Bob? Councillor Dean?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Bob, when does the contract specify when that has to be done by, or when are we intending to do that? And the reason I'm asking is because we're having such a tremendous dust problem and corduroy problem on the roads that have been prepared for this, but are presently just gravel, that it would be great if it could be expedited.
Well, the contract, if the contract is awarded tonight, the company will be contacted tomorrow, and we'll have a better idea when they'll be coming out. But we'll try and push it to have them come sooner rather than later.
Well, thank you. That's good, Bob. I'm glad to hear that. And it's delightful to see it come in under budget too. So there's a few $1,000s that we've got left over to do a few brushing jobs or something. So thank you.
Okay, Councillor Randy?
I was just going to ask pretty much the same thing as Councillor Dean. You know, just when was the anticipated start date? But it is nice to see that some of the larger companies are finally bidding on these contracts when we've bundled them together. Beamish and Miller are quite well-known larger entities. So maybe the quality of workmanship will be right up there, which would be nice to see.
Say that.
Okay. I think we need, do you have a resolution ready, Mel? You want a mover and a seconder before?
Yes.
So Councillor Dean, any seconder? Okay. Councillor Richard?
Yep.
It is duly moved and seconded. We resolve that council awards the contract for the application of single and double surface treatment of Léger, Presqu'île, Brousseau, Dry Pine Bay, White Pine Lane, and Pine Ridge Roads to Miller Paving Limited for an amount of $317,158 plus applicable taxes.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. 5.3.2, a resolution to award the contract for the Novel Waste Disposal Site Environmental Engineering and Consulting Services and to enter into a landfill monitoring and consulting engineering service agreement, and also the bylaw to enter into an agreement with this company. So I believe Bob will speak to this.
Yeah, so we've been having the same company for quite a number of years. So according to our purchasing policy, we had to go out to tender to get some requests for proposal. So that was done this year. We're kind of glad that we did. We got quite a few good companies send their bids in. At the end of the day, EXP was the better company for cost and for their presentation. So we're asking council to approve the EXP as our new environmental assessment company.
Okay.
If you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Oh, Councillor Dean?
The price of EXP was $97,000 or a total of 134. That's an annual cost. Is that the way that works?
I think there was supposed to be a breakdown of the cost per year. I don't see it. Mark Fleury had done a breakdown of each year. Mark, are you available to speak?
Hello. This is a cost for 3 years, a total of 3 years. So
Okay.
I can, yes.
All right, that's enough. That's all I need.
Okay.
I can divide that by 3.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay, seeing none. Mel, a mover and a seconder.
Yes.
So Councillor Randy and Councillor Richard.
Duly moved and seconded, be resolved that council awards the contract for the Noelville Waste Disposal Site Environmental Engineering and Consulting Services to EXP Services, Inc. for an amount of $134,762.19 plus applicable taxes.
All in favor? Okay, 5.4, Recreation and Community Services. 5.4.1. Oh,
And we have
yes,
a
Mel?
resolution for to approve the bylaw.
Oh, the bylaw.
Yet to enter into the agreement also. Where is it?
So a mover and a seconder to open this
Yes.
one? Okay, I need a mover, Councillor Dave and Councillor Bob.
So this agreement is for the monitoring of the landfill site with EXP for a period of 3 years. So duly moved and seconded, be resolved that bylaw 2021-34, being a bylaw to authorize the landfill monitoring and consulting engineering services agreement with EXP Services, Inc. be read at first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, 5.4, Recreation and Community Services. 5.4.1, a resolution to adopt a bylaw to enter into a land lease renewal agreement for North Channel Wharf with Rainbow Camp. We have a report, the land lease for North Channel Wharf bylaw 2021-35 North Channel Wharf lease renewal agreement, Rainbow Camp. And our clerk Mel will speak to this.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So we've had this land lease agreement with North Channel Camp since 2004, 2005. All the small craft harbors that were once
Fisheries and oceans.
yes,
Fisheries and oceans.
fisheries and oceans, but they were called the small craft harbor program or something like that. So they were downloaded to municipalities in Ontario. So this is one of them. This wharf gives access to 18 Mile Island area. So what we've done is we've entered into a land lease agreement with Rainbow Camp because where the wharf is or where the docks are, it's a water lot. So the property where the launching area and the parking area is owned by Rainbow Camp. So it was to both advantage to have a land lease with them. So they upgrade and they maintain the dock, and they charge for parking, but they allow for launching and for docking. So this is a renewal for a new lease with 2 additional renewal periods.
Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, I need a mover. Counselor Dean, and a seconder, Counselor Bob.
Duly moved and seconded, be it resolved that bylaw 2021-35, being a bylaw to enter into a land lease renewal agreement for North Channel Wharf with Rainbow Camp, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. 5.4.2, a resolution to authorize a funding application to the Canada Healthy Community Initiative for improvements at the Joe Chartrand Park. We have a report, Joe Chartrand Park Initiative, and I believe our CAO, Mark, will speak to this.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. As Council talked about during the budget deliberations in terms of a project for Noelville in terms of playground structure, opportunities have presented themselves through funding agencies of moving this project forward. The other thing that has come into our favor with Council's approval of setting aside the funds from the sale of the 2 lots on Doe Street, which has been completed as of last week. We're now in a position to take those funds to try to maximize the amount of money to develop this potential project. So we're requesting Council's permission to apply to this funding agency for up to $140,000, of which $98,000 would come from the fund, and the balance of $42,000 would come from the municipality in the form of our sale of lots, of our current reserve fund of $11,000, and a balance of $5,000 in terms of potential donations or fundraising within the community. We're hoping that by having this submitted by June 24th, they're going to evaluate the projects over the summer and hopefully have some type of direction in September to complete the project by June of 2022. So here's an opportunity for Council to move one of their projects timeline ahead a little bit sooner without much of any costs, additional costs being incurred. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Good thing to take advantage
Seeing
of.
none. Yes, I agree, Dean, to take advantage of what we have now. I mean, if we can get this grant, it would help out and we could do a lot of nice things there with the money we already have set aside. So it would be good. So I think, Mel, we have a resolution. So I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Dave and Councillor Randy.
Duly moved and seconded, be resolved that Council authorizes the funding application to the Canada Healthy Community Initiative for the Joe Chartrand Park project to include park improvements and installation of an accessible playground structure for an amount of $140,000, and further that the sum of $42,000 be committed to this project by the municipality.
All in favor? Okay, carried. 5.5, the Emergency and Protection Services, nil. 5.6, Building and Planning and Development, nil. 6, Correspondence. At 6.1, we have une demande de commandite de l'école secondaire de la Rivière-des-Français, des élèves de la classe de la 9e année. We have a sponsorship request from the grade 9 students at French River Secondary School. So I believe everybody has had a chance to read the letter of request. I don't know if anybody would like to speak to this, or Mayor Pajot.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I received this request, I believe it was last week. It seems to be like a wonderful project that promotes outdoor activities, and it's a huge fundraising effort. I don't know if everybody went and had a look at the videos that was given to you. If not, you should. It's actually quite nice, and it explains the program. I think the municipality should, of course, sponsor some type, and you'll see in the video, it talks about the different types of sponsorship. So if it's less or $50 or $100, you're a minnow So I don't want the municipality to be a minnow. So I'm aiming more to be like either a pike or a duddy. How do you say that?
Pickerel.
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 Wall-eyed pickerel. So
Walleye pickerel.
I think that sponsorship is about $1,000. Again, the last 2 years, because of COVID, our requests from the schools have been minimal at best. So I think finding $1,000 for this wonderful project would be in order.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Councillor Dean?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Because I am not smart enough to know what was in that proposal, just a brief rundown I would appreciate.
Sure.
My Francais does lacking there, so.
Okay, so I could speak. Or Giselle, you going to speak to it?
You go ahead.
So in the back of the high school, there is a tennis court area that has been neglected for many, many years. And so the grade 9 students have cleaned up the area and are proposing an outdoor activity. So in the one section, they would still have the tennis court. They would have different nets for either volleyball or badminton. They are putting down these like rubber mats inside. So it could be used for other outdoor activities, whether it be yoga or outdoor schooling. There will be an area to sit in there. There will be basketball nets will still be there, and it'll just get utilized not only by the students during the day, but then at nighttime they can still go and access it for extra activities after hours. It's a well thought out plan, and if you look at the video has all, even though the video is in French, all the subtitles are in English, so you can read what they are talking about. And they have done actually a lot of work. They've thought of everything, I think, from the cultural aspect, the sporting, the health aspect of it, including all the different it's just very, very interesting project, and a well thought out. They've been working on this for almost a full year now. So
yeah.
What's the total budget that they're looking at spending here?
They don't actually have a cost, but I'm assuming it's going to be well over, I would say, a good 100,000. Maybe Mark would know more with that kind of a project. Just from us doing the Albin outdoor rink, like what kind of money we've asked for, and we're not even doing half of the scope of what they're talking of doing, because they're putting in picnic tables, all that foam inside, kind of like what we want to put at the outdoor rink. So I'm thinking, I don't know if they'll need some new fencing and that kind of stuff. So I'm assuming 50 to 100,000 would be reasonable when you're talking about a huge project of that size. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing.
So our $1,000 is not much.
No, but every little bit helps, right? So if somebody else wants to speak, Bob? Go ahead,
Yes,
Bob.
thank you. Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I think it's a great project. I'm in favor of it. Maybe we could direct staff to get more info, re-budget, read this. I don't want to be known as a minnow. I don't even want to be known as a pickerel. It's the French River Muskies. We should be a muskie. We should be one of the biggest sponsors out there. I'm ready to go more than 1,000. We've saved money on the contracts we gave out tonight. Let's put some of this money back in the community without meeting with our auditors next year and having a huge surplus again. So those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Anybody have something else to say to this? Giselle, Mayor Peugeot?
I'm not opposed to increasing it at all. The bigger the fish, the more money it costs. So I don't have a problem with that. I'd like to point out too that in the area, I think it's going to cost way more than 100,000, by the way, for if they accomplish everything that they're trying to accomplish. But they're going to have a gathering area so that the Indigenous people can perform their cleansing ceremonies. They can have not only their smudging ceremonies, but also some outdoor activities, and it'll be used as a gathering. So, Bob, I don't know how much money you were thinking of doing, but I'm not opposed to increasing it.
Okay, Councillor Richard.
Through you, Chair, I would love to see their budget or know more what the budget is, and I think it's worthwhile. Something like this, we haven't supported something like this in quite a while, I believe.
Perhaps, Madam Chair, that we can invite the school to come and make a presentation at our next meeting, and then give us a better idea of the cost, their budget. But we can tell them that we're certainly in support of it.
Okay, Mel, you have something to report?
I was going to suggest if council wants to delay this decision to the next meeting, I can request to have further information from them. I'm not sure if they would be able to attend the meeting because of COVID, and I'm not sure what their class attendance are. But I can for sure gather more information on the sponsorship packages, because the sponsorship packages are explained in the video, but I don't have anything in writing.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Dean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think that the request is kind of generalized here, and personally, I would like to see a little bit more in terms of what they're anticipating, what they would like to spend, what they think they can spend, what is an appropriate amount to be spent, just a little bit more detail before we make a decision on how much we would like to contribute to it. I think it's I'm not trying to suggest that it be less or more one way or the other, but I think we need a more than just a request for funds.
Okay, I think we wait off our like Mel said, we revisit this at our next meeting, and we get more information from them. Good. And we'll be better equipped to, perhaps make a bigger donation and have some questions answered. I believe Councillor Randy, you have something to add?
I was just going to be, thank you, Madam Chair. I was just going to be along the same lines. I'm comfortable at a certain point, but I don't think we should go too far into doling out a lot of community money. We have some big undertakings in the future here coming, so we do need to be somewhat cognizant of those items, but I do agree that it's a good project to help with. So it'd be nice to see some particulars, what they're going to spend the money on and what the budget is. So thank you.
Okay. Councillor Richard, were you good, or I saw you had your hand up?
Yep, a little while ago actually, but that's okay. Thank you. So, I mean, I'm okay with the project, but I think the best thing to do is that, well, it's been said just before I spoke right here, but let's just get them to give us a budget and make a request accordingly. Just let's not just jump on it just because it sounds good right away. It is good, but let's just get more details. I mean, the letter is open-ended. There's no details for budgets or anything like that. I mean, we never decide on any projects without having any calculations or monetary amounts in front of us. So let's do it that way. I don't think it's a pressing matter that needs to be done tonight, regardless if it's $1,000 or if it's more down the road. Let's just do it the right way and ask for more details. And if they can forward those details, then we'll be more than happy to look at it. Other than that, then I would just leave it at that right now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I suggest, do we need a motion to, no, we'll just wait. And then perhaps maybe we could get the Marks to look into, see what kind of, if we have any kind of funds that can be more than 1,000, or where we're at with our budget situation moving forward, so that we have an idea if we can give more or less. Dean?
Madam Chair, I note in this the written work here that there is a teacher who is ready to discuss this issue, and perhaps she might like to come to or attend a council meeting, even a virtual one, with more details. She seems to be the one that they're suggesting we go to for more details.
Okay, good suggestion. We can reach out to her and have her see if she wants to sit into our next meeting. And also, if you have time, go and look at the video they have. It is posted on their Facebook page. It's very.
So on the letter.
It's in our package also.
Yes, it's in the package.
So have a look at it. All right, so I believe that's it. Okay, 7, the consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to look over the minutes from our last meeting?
Yes.
It's very short.
None. So and there was the minutes, and there was also the consideration of the disbursements reports were all included in that. So and the bylaws. Do we have a motion for this, Mel?
Yes.
So I need a mover, Councillor Randy, and a seconder, Councillor Dave.
Duly moved and seconded. Be it resolved that council approves the items of the consent agenda under section 7.1 and receives the items under section 7.2 and 7.3.
All in favor? Okay, thank you. 8 items separated from the consent agenda to allow debate. There we don't have any. There is no notices of motion. 10 announcements and inquiries. Do we have any? Councillor Randy?
Through you, Madam Chair, just a quick announcement that the Lions Club this weekend will be dispersing seedlings to people. I have managed to capture 2,500 seedlings that I've sold for $1 a piece and donating the funds back to the club. Also, the club is going to be planting some trees in the municipality this weekend. So it's been a pretty great initiative. The Board of Health signed off this week to allow us to do this. So looks good.
Okay, do you guys have a meeting location planned, or what's the plan for this weekend if someone wanted to reach out and help?
Sure, so they can reach me through my contact information, or we'll be meeting at the Alvin Community Center.
Approximate time?
At 9 to noon.
Okay, thank you.
And we are looking for
Anybody?
volunteers if there are anybody available.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Seeing none. We have no closed session tonight. And adjournment, we need a resolution to adopt the confirmation bylaw. So I need a mover, Councillor Randy and Councillor Dean.
Duly moved and seconded. Resolved that bylaw 2021-36, being a bylaw to confirm the proceeding of council at the meeting held on June 2nd, be read for second and third time and finally passed.
All in favor? Okay, well, thank you, everyone. We are done. That's it, I believe.
You adjourn.
Adjourn, yeah.
Oh, I need somebody to adjourn. A resolution to adjourn, Councillor Richard and Councillor Randy.
At 6:46.
Getting
Okay.
better every meeting.
Meeting is adjourned. I don't normally make it to the end, so this is new. Have a good evening,
Have a good evening, everyone.
and we'll see you in
everyone.
2 weeks.